Let the cooking begin. I choose you.
Hello, and welcome to I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. My name is Jeremy Zielik. I'm the host and Alton Brown of the group, and joining me this week, as always, is...
Ben Montoya, the friend of the show.
Ian Davis, the Naotoshi Zen of the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And not having to do an Ian Davis impersonation this week, Evan Aubrey. Because he's back, ladies and gents.
Back, baby.
Oh, he's back.
So first things first, happy birthday, Ben. Day we're listening to it. It is Ben's birthday. Congratulations on making it.
That's actually not true.
What?
It's on Wednesday.
Oh,
That's gotta
And you caught me off
hurt.
guard because I thought you were going to say today, and I was like, am I a bad friend for remembering
No.
it?
Well, I did that. I did the other thing where I was like, oh, Ben's birthday's on the 9th, and I thought today was the 8th. So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well,
Forgiven.
Just fudge it and
listeners-
release this on Wednesday.
Yeah, no. Listeners on Wednesday wish Ben happy birthday. Congratulations on making it a year around the sun. Happy birthday. Secondly,
Thanks, y'all.
I'm gonna make I Choose You is corrections havers. I made a grievous error last week when I
You
said
really
the
did.
new grass starter was Spirigatito when it is fact Sprigatito, like the word sprig, like a tiny leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Ian's
And I
like,
made-
you idiot.
Yeah, I made that error, and I apologize. It will not be ghost type. Anyway, finished. Now, let's turn to Ian, who wasn't here last week, to discuss the announcement of Pokemon Gen 9 Scarlet and Violet. Ian, give us your hottest takes.
Yeah, I mean, really, what is there to say? The starters look great. They're like in a painting. That's nice.
That was
They got
nice.
stuck there.
Yeah.
They're like the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2, Vigo the Carpathian.
I actually got off the phone with the guys at Pokemon HQ. That's why I couldn't be here last week. I was,
Of course.
I was on a flight to Japan.
Oh, you called them on your flight to Japan?
Yeah, it was the Nintendo jet. Ash Ketchum was there personally to greet me.
Is it like, oh, I'm gonna be your air captain tonight, Mario?
Yep. And I sat in my chair, and then like a dog curled up next to me, but it had like a bunch of eggs it was sitting on.
That's the HAL Laboratory logo, if anyone's
Oh.
wondering.
No, yeah, I think it looks fun. I really wasn't expecting it. I think it's nice that we're going to Spain.
España.
That's gonna be nice. Maybe there's gonna be some peninsulas. Here's
looking forward to
what they
some
told
more
me. So
peninsulas.
the two like secrets that you're gonna get here first is one, similar to like Mario and Dark Souls. You jump into the paintings,
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That'd be
And-
cool.
Okay.
right? And then in every like you jump through a different painting for each region, and then no one was expecting it, but there is a Inquisition in the game.
We made some of these jokes last
really?
week, Ian. I'm sure you didn't listen. I'm actually 99% sure you didn't listen to your own podcast. But
I didn't
we
expect
did
to hear
talk
that
about
joke
this.
twice, so...
Oh, that's
Roasted.
that's a good one.
Okay, but Ian, who are you choosing as the starter?
The alligator skull guy.
Fuecoco?
Yeah, I saw him. I was like, that's cute. And then I saw like a Twitter post that was like, no thoughts, head empty. And I was like,
Fuecoco.
yeah, this guy's. I love Totodile. Totodile's a great Pokemon, and I feel like this is just like
Yeah.
a nice new guy to.
Yeah. The dinosaur's
one-
just here for the vibes.
Yes. Which one do you think will have the sexiest final evolution?
Has to be the cat.
Oh, I was
Has
going to
to
say
be.
duck.
I'm kind of hoping. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Quaxley gives them a run for their money.
Yeah, it has a real glow up.
Well, do you think he's going to get more attractive as he evolves, or do you think his head of hair like disappears and he becomes bald by the?
I mean,
Middle-aged duck.
based on like the styling, he's like a navy duck or whatever. I mean, he's Donald Duck, but it depends how attractive one finds like a Popeye figure. You know what I'm saying?
Do you hope that his cry, like when it comes on to like fight, it goes like doo-doo-doo bump bump?
That'd be pretty good.
Excellent.
'Cause
Well,
do we want to talk about what the we kind of put this off last week, but should we talk about cooking and eating these starters?
So we can, or we can wait till our eventual episode, or we can wait till the game comes out. I'll let the audience decide before us right now.
I actually want to ask I think it's an important question, Ben. In fact, so important we made a whole show about it. But I want to know, because I really like, beyond knowing that it takes place in Spain and the Pokemon are cute, I don't know a lot about it. All the other games, it's like, oh, well, yeah, like the moon is cooler than the sun, or like, oh, yeah, like I do prefer wearing emeralds over sapphire. Scarlet and Violet are just very similar to me. I don't know what is going to draw me one way or the other.
Yeah, I want a slightly more purple.
Well,
Yeah, they are. They're not just like two colors that are opposites, like black and white. They are two colors that are actually very close together. Like if you made a color wheel, like it's kind of like red and purple are like pretty much right next to each other when you think about it. If you like, oh, your primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. I mean, purple is just red and blue put together. So it's like the two choices are about as close as possible. This generation.
So it's Game Freak's
feel like
next
it's-
money grab to make you buy both of them so you can finish the entire game.
Oh, shit. Or instead of having a rival, you have like a comrade.
Yes.
Oh.
What do you have in the violet one?
No, it's all comrade.
Oh, okay.
would you be more happy if they went with like rose and violet? You know, because roses are red and violets are blue.
Oh, shit. That would have been really fucking good.
Release on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, what if they were like fucking surprise drop Valentine's Day? Then I would have even annoyed Ben and Evan even more. So Ian, you remember that Sunday morning when I woke up at 7 in the morning and I checked my phone and they announced new Pokemon, and you're the only other person that was awake at that time.
It's true.
When I started texting you guys about it.
Yep.
How did you feel waking up to that news in the morning, or me texting you about it?
Well, you know, it made me feel a little less lonely. I was up at 7 or whatever on a Sunday, sitting in my recliner, drinking a warm beverage, and then I see a text from Jeremy, and I was like, this doesn't surprise me in the fucking slightest. Nothing can surprise me anymore. This year, there's no more surprises.
No more surprises in the year 2022.
Yeah, he can't Kramer right up to your front door, so he Kramers right into your phone.
Yes.
Oh.
Imagine if it was 7:15 on Sunday and like you heard a knock on the door and you're like, I wonder who that could be, and it was me, and I had like a scroll and I unfurled it and I said they announced the new Pokemon games.
I just have to say that you said the words "and it's me" with the most fucking vengeful attitude. I have to say,
me.
like, you know exactly what kind of chaos you're about to cause when you proposition this with "and it's me." You're like fucking Fuller in Home Alone. You're like, I know exactly what trouble I'm gonna cause.
I'm gonna pee in the bed.
Man, and you know, it's so true about Jeremy. Like, when he did live above me, and it would be like 7 a.m. because I had an 8 a.m. class, I knew he was already outside the door with a bowl of fucking dry cereal waiting to use our milk. And I would just like peek through my blinds and see him. I'd be like, yep. Sometimes I wouldn't even look. I would just I'd wake up, I'd walk to the front door, I'd just open it, knowing he'd be waiting in his little jams.
I changed my clothes before I went to the apartment.
Most of the time.
I'll have you know.
Ian, did you ever have like a Goodwill Hunting moment where you're like, Jeremy, every day I wake up and I look out my window and I hope to God I know see you out there with the dry cereal?
Well, yeah, because I have like a for those of you who don't know me super well, I always keep a whiteboard outside of my house with a math problem that's unsolvable. And Jeremy just kept fucking solving it.
I hold up like a sign on your window that says, "How about them apples?"
Oh my God. Whew.
Well, I'm glad I was able to communicate that information to you. But
The boys are back in town.
Yeah, it's getting wild.
so, Well, that's previous. Let's call that like a recap of the previous events that we've covered. And let's move on to the main meal of the show. That's right. We're talking about I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. Each week, we randomly select a new Pokemon that we prepare separate recipes for. And then we vote amongst ourselves who has the best recipe. And we decide the winner in a very democratic manner. Who won last week? Was it me that won last week? Yes, Ian?
It was you.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. But so I won last week, so I'll go first. But let me first discuss the Pokemon we're cooking this week. It's called Volcarona. It's a lava bug, and thinking about it, every time I thought about it, I said its name to the tune of my Sharona.
Volcarona. Yeah. Ruined.
Nice.
I like that.
So, Evan, you've been to Hawaii recently.
I have.
And you know they have volcanoes there, right?
They do.
You were in a
I
volcano.
was.
And lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, you weren't thrown in as a sacrifice or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing about Volcarona is that it appears in the ashiest of nights when a volcano explodes and blots out the sky, and it replaces the sun, according to the Pokedex, which it provides light for the people who are blocked by a volcano. But I was thinking to myself, this is a Pokemon that appears in the darkest of times, the inkiest black of situations, and it's obviously related to volcanoes and magma and lava, and so I thought it would be appropriate if Volcarona was part of what I like to call a spicy dark chocolate lava cake, because it's going to appear in the darkest of chocolates to provide a light, in parentheses, spice, to your taste buds.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
Good setup. Okay.
So,
This is a good setup.
so first we're gonna look at our Volcarona, and I think it gets its its spiciest bits. We've talked. It's obvious. Okay, first of all, it's a moth, and if you want to go back to our Mothim episode where we talk about eating moths, I highly recommend doing that. It's one of our best episodes. But
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Ian didn't revive Trig v Load for this episode to be the Trig v Load Part 2.
Oh, it's just begun, Ben. You never know.
Oh, okay.
So here's what I'm gonna do. We're going to get its wings, and I assume that's where the spice is flowing from the Volcarona. Where we're gonna clip off its wings, and what we're gonna do is, as we talked about in the Mothim episode, we're gonna dry them out until they become like nice and crispy, and then we're going to get our mortar and pestle, and we're gonna mash those boys up until it's a nice fine powder. And then we're going to proceed with the first half of my recipe here, which is we're going to make the cake section of the volcano cake. And we're going to do a Mexican chocolate cake with a cinnamon infusion involved in it.
Yes.
So
Nice.
what you're going to do is you're going to get just some your standard cake ingredients, butter, cocoa. We're going to add some espresso powder, sugar, flour, and then instead of cinnamon, we're going to use the Volcarona spice. We're going to put that in there, and that's going to give us a nice little kick. And we're going to also throw in some cayenne peppers and, classic chocolate chip, our eggs, vanilla extract, all that good stuff. So we're going to use that as our main cake batter. Now, we've got to do the volcano portion of making the cakes. So what you need to do is you got to get a small custard cup. And you're gonna fill it with the cake batter, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna cook it for a little bit, and then you're going to get some different types of chocolate, bittersweet chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, whatever chocolate you like. We're gonna melt in the center. So we're gonna fill it up, and then we're gonna bake it for a little bit. It says about 13 minutes, and then we're gonna turn it upside down and serve it on a plate, maybe with a side of ice cream. So when you crack it open, it leaks out chocolate onto the plate. and it's nice
Wow.
and warm and delicious. And maybe on the side, you're like Vin Diesel, and you're having a nice Corona with your Volcarona spicy volcano cake, and which is also Mexican, so it all comes together perfectly. Yes, Ian.
You kept referring to like The Darkest Night, and I was wondering if you were going to make a connection between Robert Pattinson and the recipe.
I was kind of wondering if we were going to talk about quote unquote da bat on this show
I had a middle
because it's
schooler tell me today that it was better than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Wow.
oh
Hot take.
wow, and you were like, let me tell you, I was in middle school when The Dark Knight came out,
Yeah,
so
I
you
was-
don't have any fucking
I-
way to tell me.
I got like nose to nose with this kid, and I was
Yes.
like, "You merely adopted the film."
Let me say this. It's funny to imagine.
bored in it.
It's funny to imagine to a middle schooler to be like, I love this movie. Because first of all, this movie's 3 hours long. It's like
Are you serious?
Yes.
You gotta get deep
Whoa,
in there.
I didn't realize
it is
that.
it is not it's not exactly 3 hours. It is merely 176 minutes. So I imagine that's a tough haul for a middle schooler. And thirdly, this movie is like it's about like a serial killer. Like the Riddler is a serial killer, and he's like, I'm killing people, and then I'm leaving puzzles for Robert Pattinson to solve so he can help me put this conspiracy together. So I think it's a little intense for like a middle schooler, but what do I know? I'm not a teacher.
I actually feel like I prepared him for this film because not only does he have to like silently endure me for a half hour every day, so he's got the focus, but I also made my kids do the Wordle, and I think that sets him up for the puzzle aspect.
Oh, nice.
Man, you are kind of like the Riddler in your school.
Yeah.
You just do the Wordle.
Imagine
I mean,
the climax to Batman is just like, what's the Wordle? Tell
Yes.
me what it is.
The Wordler.
Riddle me this, Batman. What's a 5-letter word that you haven't guessed yet?
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
6 chances, or I dump these puppies in acid.
Call me the Whittler.
Though I did really enjoy the Batman. It's very funny. Colin Farrell plays the Penguin, and he has a very funny, like, Italian accent. He's like, "Hey, yo, I'm a penguin over here." Oh, kind of situation, which is very funny to me.
What has been very fun for me is that me and Asia have been watching the original, like, I guess not the original movies, but like, you know, the Batman Begins, that trilogy.
Yes.
And we watched Batman Begins, and the whole time I just found it so funny because, like, you know, I like to imagine a Batman movie taking place where everyone already knows that that Batman exists, but they're still so confused by it. They like see a shadow moving in the night, and they're like, is that a fucking bat or a man? And like the whole time I couldn't stop cracking up just thinking about, because it's an origin story,
Yes.
obviously, so no one knows him yet. But like I like to imagine that everyone is just like making this connection like super quickly.
Yes.
You know, that he's the Batman.
Well, they can't get him confused with Man-Bat, who is a bat-sized man.
Yeah,
or,
right,
excuse me,
right.
a man-sized bat, whereas Batman is simply a man dressed as a bat.
That's good. Like, you know, you really fucking nailed the costume though if they just get it the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, pointy ears?
true.
Yeah, got it.
Don't you hate when you go to a costume party and they're like, "Oh, like who are you supposed to be?"
Yeah.
None of that.
They're like, I'm dressed as the brawny guy from the fucking Owls.
Yeah.
The sexiest marketing mascot.
Yes. I will say there's a funny thing in this Batman movie is that, and it's like the first scene in the movie, it's the second scene in the movie, it's very close to the beginning, is that Gordon brings Batman to the crime scene, and he's like, and all the police officers and detectives are like, what's this fucking Batman doing at a murder scene? And you're like, that is a good question.
They just really went all out on the accents, huh?
Yes, they did.
Who plays Commissioner Gordon before we leave?
Jeffrey Wright.
Oh.
Of Westworld fame
Yes.
and other things.
Yes.
You know what's funny is, maybe I've already pointed this out,
Yes.
but I am a big fan of Batman: The Audio Adventures.
Yes.
Which is a podcast. And in that one, Jeffrey Wright plays Batman.
Whoa!
Oh.
He's
shit.
working both
The
sides.
BCU's
The
a
only
little
one
messed
to
up
do-
here.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we don't need to. That is a good point though, Ian. That we did hear Jeremy say The Darkest Night
Yes.
and not even really think about it. So thank you for steering us towards the path
Yes.
of righteousness.
That's why I'm here.
Vengeance.
I do have to say, Jeremy, you started out this season by saying, I need a win. Oh, boy. Boy, howdy, would I love a good win. Jeremy, you brought it this episode. I got to
He's
say,
in
I
the
got to
running.
give it up.
Yeah, okay, Ben.
Gotta-
Well, you sound like you've got a good recipe lined up for us, Ben. What's going on there?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily have a winner, but I do have something.
It's true.
The thing that I really like about Volcarona, well, I think I've played it, like I've run it on a team at some point, and it's really cool. I am a big fan of Volcarona, and the thing that I think is really cool about it is it like flips that whole like moth to a flame like phrase on its head.
I didn't even
Nice.
think
You know?
about that.
Nice.
Because it's a flaming moth.
Yeah.
So like I dig it, like it speaks to me.
And despite the tragic circumstances where its name is now associated with a deadly virus, Volcarona is a
Yeah.
good pun.
It is. It is.
Because it's like a sun and it's related to a volcano. It's got everything.
Yeah, it's really cool. Big fan of this one. I feel like of the ones that we've done this season, this one might be one of my faves. So, I looked. The first thing that I was getting is just looking at it. The vibe I was getting was a black bean and rice burrito. Mainly just because it's black and white and it has salsa colored. Horns and wings and whatnot.
I can see that. You roll up to a Taco Bell, you're like, give me a Doritos Locos Volcarona. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say like Volcaronos Locos Doritos or
There
whatever.
you go.
yeah, that one's good. Anyway, so that's what I was initially thinking. So then, but I was pretty easily stymied by this because I Googled, just out of curiosity, I was wondering if anyone had done this before, quote unquote, moth bean burrito.
No.
Yeah.
Where did that lead you, Ben?
Google tried to autocorrect. Google was trying to help me out. They were like, "Do you mean hot bean burrito?" And I was like,
No.
"No,
No, I want the moths.
No.
I want the moth." Not the moth radio hour, but moth burritos. Turns out moth burritos aren't a thing, but moth beans, on the other hand, are.
Wait, what?
Moth beans.
So a moth bean is a, I guess it's it's a phrase. It's a legume. It's sort of like a lentil, and I
Like-
think it's like an English
like a-
version.
Like a peanut.
No, not like a peanut.
Yeah.
Like a lentil.
No, Ben, peanuts are legumes. They're not nuts.
Well, I'm not denying that peanuts aren't legumes, but what I'm saying is a moth bean is less like a peanut as it is more like a lentil.
Well, but lentils and peanuts are quite similar.
Shut up. Oh my god. They're not the same. You would not be able to make like fucking dal out of peanuts. You'd make peanut butter. Like really warm peanut butter soup.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Anyway, okay, so a moth bean is like a lentil. And so then it's normally used in like Indian dishes. So, and the first thing that pops up is a dal. So I'm gonna make a dal corona. I feel like I've already made a dal before, but and that pun's not super great, but like that's what I'm doing.
Okay, that's fine. Dal Corona.
I'll allow
Continue.
Yeah. So the way that the key to this recipe, this might get a little gross, but
Ooh.
you might be wondering like, how do we get from giant moth to quote unquote moth beans, quote unquote Volcarona beans? And I'm telling you that the answer is all within that shell, right? So you clip off the wings, save those for later. You're gonna shave off all the hair, all the fur of the Volcarona. You're just gonna just like Gallagher on the stage of a comedy night. You're gonna take a sledgehammer and give it an old whack. And on the inside are these amazing beans. lentils.
Full of
Like a
beans.
Beanie Baby?
Yeah.
They're yeah.
Like a beanbag.
Hey, can I
Yeah.
fill up my beanbag chair with these if I want to?
You could put them in like a rain stick for like a kid's project. You can save them. I mean, what my mom always just had, like growing up, there was always just like a jar of dried like beans and lentils and whatnot for various crafts or for eating. That's the fun part.
Did you
so
ever have
I
to
would
like
say-
break open your rain sticks to get beans?
No, I never did. I'm too privileged. I must say.
Well, I was just like, oh no, we're out of beans and they're coming for dinner in an hour, kind of situation.
That never happened, but I don't dispute it.
Okay.
So basically, that's what's happening. Is we're cracking open this giant moth and releasing all of these moth beans for our doll. You're gonna want to take those beans right from the moth to some water for them to like soak overnight. Which is the key to some good lentils as well. Usually, letting them soak for a little bit. So you then are going to put in a pressure cooker the next day some oil, and you're gonna like crack some cumin seeds in there, like in the pressure cooker, and add some ginger and garlic, and like let that saute. Add some onions and tomatoes, and let that cook until it gets kind of mushy. You're just making like a real. Dal is just like a soup-y kind of lentil mash almost. I'm trying to like use the right textures. But first you're just starting with these onions and tomatoes, and then you're gonna add a bunch of spices, such as dry mango powder,
Hell yeah.
garam masala, red chili, turmeric, salt, and I think that's everything, and cumin seeds. So then you've got your tomato onion mixture that's seasoned, and give it the water that you soaked the moth beans with. You're gonna put 2 cups of that in there, and then you're gonna add the moth beans and let it cook for a good while. Let me see. It doesn't say how long, but it's until the pressure cooker starts to whistle. I don't know if that's a good sign. I'm gonna go and say usually when we've made a doll on the stove, it's usually been like about an hour or so. So I would say maybe like 30 minutes since it's a pressure cooker. And then you're gonna serve it with some rice in a bowl, and you took those Volcarona leaves off, or
Leaves? Ooh.
wings off. They're gonna make a great. Oh man, what is that? It's like an Indian flatbread, but it's like
Naan.
really crispy. It's not naan.
Oh. Roti.
It's I feel like roti's also kind of like floury. What's the like dry and crunchy Indian? Let me find it.
Well, those are the 2 that I got off the top of my head. Well, Ben.
Papadums.
Okay.
Papadums. That's what they are.
All right.
Yeah. And the wing is a perfect papadum. It's just ready to go. Maybe dry it out a little bit extra since you just cut it off. So that's my recipes. Dal Corona.
Excellent.
Delish.
Next, let's move to Ian's recipe. Ian teased us a little bit earlier. What's your recipe about, Ian?
Well, Jeremy, this last week, I had rehearsals. I worked all day, and then I drove to Santa Fe for a musical rehearsal. But in between, I'd go to pick up my boy Jesse, the drummer, at Jesse the drummer on Instagram. Go follow him. And he's been playing Elden Ring nonstop. I walk in, he's fighting some sort of like tree monster, or
I fought those tree monsters. Oh,
yeah. So
those tree monsters are great because they give you materials to mix in your glass of wondrous physic.
Nerd alert.
Ooh.
So I watched a lot of that. He'd play for like a half hour, and I'd be like, all right, I guess we should like go to this rehearsal. And then I was looking at this guy today, and I was like, sun, Pokemon. And I thought,
Pokemon Sun.
we need to raise the sun.
Ah, like Dark
Interesting.
Souls. So in Dark Souls, there's a thing where you praise the sun. And we're gonna praise the sun.
I see. I thought it was going to be like a... Yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
I can always count on Jeremy for thinking I'm fucking funny.
No one else is always there for a laugh.
Ian, maybe next time you're funny, I'll laugh.
Whoa.
Shots fired.
Ooh.
Man, we came back. Ian, you came back from break, and you're just being like, Ben's just getting at you.
Yeah, it feels like I'm back in my fucking classroom right now. Jesus. God.
Is that what your
roasted all day
students tell
long.
you? They're like, Mr. Davis, I'll laugh at your jokes when they're funny. Drop the mic, walk out of class.
I imagine that you walk into your classroom and it like turns into a stand-up stage, and you like go and you go out and you're like, you're so about that weather, eh? And it's just like cricket noises in the background.
I hate to say it. I mean, I do feel like a fucking clown most days I go to work. It's fucking abysmal, and I am not enjoying it. But besides that, braising the sun. I have for you a
Right.
wine braised Volcarona with mushrooms. Okay. So I picture you slice them open. I know that like theoretically it could be moth beans or goop. Right? That's like
It could be goop.
that's the one of the quintessential insides of a bug.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just
beans
like weird green slime.
Yeah, but in this instance, I'm presupposing you slice it open and it's just like beautiful, boneless red meat.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. Hell
Bug
yeah.
meat.
Yeah.
I would say usually bugs come in the beans or goop variety. Red meat is usually not on the taxonomy, but
Stay with me.
But Ben,
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
you see like a big fucking like caterpillar, and you like cut it open, and it's like a fucking T-bone steak on the inside.
Exactly. Thank you, Jeremy. So you only need to braise it for about, for a little bit. So you take your Volcarona, you cube the chuck. Freeze it for about 30 minutes before cutting it to help it kind of keep its shape, so you get those nice cubes. Pat your meat dry, as you should always do, and brown it in a pan. And then after browning it, you're gonna remove the meat, and you're gonna add like all your chopped veggies in there, in that fat. All of that fat, and you let that go. Add some tomato paste, sprinkle some flour, get a nice roux fucking going on, and then you put the meat back in. You add the wine, and you're stirring it. Not that anyone fucking asked, but the vegetables I'm using, I got onion, carrots, garlic, crimini mushrooms. All of that.
Criminy?
There's like a time of mushroom, or you're like criminy mushrooms. And you're
Exactly.
Like a fucking Robin. kind of
Exactly like that.
explanation.
It's crimini mushroom. It's the spin-off of... It's actually, instead of having a cricket in the new Pinocchio film, it is a talking mushroom.
cute.
Father.
Father, why can I be on my own?
God, I had to listen to my fucking 8th graders just say that over and over again.
Do you show them that and then regret your choices?
No, they said it on their own. I was like, is that Pinocchio? And they're like, yeah.
They're like, oh shit, he knows what memes we're
Pinocchio,
talking
I
about.
hear?
Yeah, that's like my only good class. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. You just let that go for a few hours, and the meat absorbs all the red wine, and it cooks off, and the vegetables are nice and soft. The meat's nice and soft. It's just like melts in your mouth. Maybe you serve that
does
with
sound
a
delicious.
glass of red wine.
Would you
mashed
say-
potatoes.
Would you say, unlike the Dark Souls franchise and Elden Ring by extension, that this unlike them, this is a delightful meal that you can easily enjoy at any time?
Right, opposed to a video game franchise.
Yes. Well, I was going to say it's easy to enjoy, unlike Dark Souls, which is hard and makes you and punishes you for like taking a snap and sneezing or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. No, this meal does not punish you in the slightest. It accepts you for who you are, unlike your students.
Good intro to eating bugs. This is a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If you've been like wanting to introduce your friends to bugs,
Yes.
and they haven't been about it, this is the place to start.
They're like, nice
Sounds
good
like-
bug steak, and then the next one, they're all just goo after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Ian, the way you said that did make it sound like I was coming out as like a bugophiliac to my parents or whatever.
Yeah, if you're looking for a bug to bring home to your folks,
Yes.
Volcarona,
That's the one.
good,
Bring home
a gateway bug.
Ian Davis as
Yes.
well.
Yeah. if I had to do that with a bug Pokemon, it would be that weird buff one from the Sun and Moon.
Is that the most fuckable bug?
Yes.
Buzzswole. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
One buff bug.
Yes.
It is a buff bug. It's kind of stupid, honestly. They really didn't need to do it.
And so there's like a buff bug, and then there's like a dainty like ladybug, and she's like a ballerina dancer, and I'm like, wow, what a fucking distinction you made there between male and female. The Pokemon Company. Anyway,
Okay.
yes.
I was gonna ask Ian what meat you would compare it the most to. Is it really like like chuck roast kind of quality that you're thinking of, or is there a little bit? I don't know.
It's pretty chucky. Like, if I'm being frank, the way I picture it is it's already like a fucking pot roast when you cut it. Like, it's not like goo, but it's like fucking soft and
Melts in
sloppy.
your mouth.
Yeah. But for the sake of this recipe, like, I don't want to like overcook the meat. So maybe you find like a younger one. It's got a nice marble in it. Like, it is just, the fat is, it has like kinetic energy. If kinetic energy was like the potential to just be the fucking sloppiest, goddamn delicious soft shit you've ever eaten.
The slot.
Now, Ian, it's been 10 years since I took AP Physics, but would that not be potential energy?
Jeremy, don't fucking try it. I got a 3 on that exam, okay? Don't fucking try it.
All right.
Okay, good to know.
Evan, what is your recipe?
All right, so I dug deep into the trivia section this week because I was like, what do I do here?
Deep.
Interestingly enough, Volcarona shares this category with both Espeon, a cat, and Sunflora, a sunflower. They're all the sun Pokemon apparently.
Oh.
So that's interesting. And then the
Wait, what makes Espeon the sun Pokemon?
You
Great
evolve
question.
it during the day.
oh that's the
Oh,
one.
okay.
Friendship during the day, and then you get Umbreon if you evolve it with friendship during the night.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then secondly, the wings, it's said to be based off of a tiger lily.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, I'll go with a T for this week. So we're gonna pluck all of the Volcarona leaves, wings off of the bug, and you're gonna dry those out. You're gonna crush them up a little bit. Maybe what you could do is like roll them up, and then when you steep them in the tea, they like unfurl and do that whole thing.
Oolong style. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
So
nice see-through teapot.
Yep, that's the one. And you're going to mix that with some orange, some cocoa nibs, some chocolatey flavoring in there, a little bit of blue corn flour, natural almond flavor as well, just to kind of give it a little bit of nuttiness.
Wow.
So that's your whole tea blend you've got going on, and you're going to steep that at precisely 212 degrees for 4 minutes, and you've got yourself a delicious, highly caffeinated cup of black tea. Ian Davis.
Wow.
What kind of like, what are you pairing with it? Like, am I enjoying this with like a scone, with like
Yeah.
a lemon drizzle?
Absolutely. You want something like bright, but also kind of like filling, like a dense kind of pastry, like a scone. I think that totally makes sense. A lemon scone is a good call. I do enjoy any sort of good like thick muffin with it. Like there are some light muffins that you don't want to mess around with, but this you like it. You need to like, it'll break
Evan,
down
what-
whatever you got going on.
Evan, what do you mean by a light muffin?
So I don't know if you've had
Like not a bran muffin.
yeah, not a bran muffin, not like a I don't know. You could have like a banana muffin that's like super airy, right?
Oh, okay.
This isn't like a fluffy, like light, like muffin. Yeah, this is like a thick, dense, like you got to chew it for a little bit kind of muffin.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to. I'm glad you brought up tea because I made an investment this week that's been. Well, I've only had it for a day, but it's been very enjoyable.
Oh.
I got like a glass like tumbler, and one end of it, like you screw off the cap, and the cap is actually like where you put the tea, and then it
It's
has
the
a
strainer
tea.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you like flip it over to like steep, and then you flip it back over when it's done steeping, and then the water isn't in there.
Nice.
Whoa.
And it's been really fucking nice because when you're at school, you can't be like dealing with tea bags, making a mess all over your table, like you're getting spilling tea on the grades.
Whoa.
Exactly. It's just been, and like, so I got some nice oolong, in fact, and I put it in there, and the leaves have room to unfurl. It's not like,
Wow.
yeah. So that's what I'm taking your recipe to work with me, I think.
There you go. It's nice
Wow.
and zen.
Is this
really-
replaced your
yeah.
freezer full of LaCroix?
I just can't keep up. If LaCroix could come in like little like dried leaf balls that I could like steep, that would be revolutionary.
Deep LaCroix.
Or like
Yeah.
powdered LaCroix that you just mix in. It's like Kool-Aid powder and you just mix it in.
They've got
Just
Carbonates
adds
it.
carbonation to it.
Yeah.
I guess
They've
that's
got
just a
cold-
soda stream.
they've got cold brew coffee. They need cold steep tea.
Yes.
Mm.
Wouldn't
Well,
that just be
there's like,
Arizona iced tea?
Well, no,
Nitro.
I guess because cold brewed meaning that it's. I don't actually know what cold brew means, but I imagine what it means is that the heat is not actively involved. You know,
Right.
I think something on the tea side of things that might be similar is sun tea, where you like leave a bunch of you like put a pitcher of water out and like put a bunch of tea bags in there and then leave it out in the sun for like a day or something. My mom used to do it.
Interesting.
No, I want like a nice
that's
nice
kind of
hot
like-
tea in the morning, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like your recipe. Your recipe makes me want to like go to a coffee shop and like read a book and
Write some poetry.
you know, maybe write some poetry. I feel like I really was sold on the theatrics of the
The blooming,
everything kind
yeah.
of blossoming.
For the
That's
listeners at
really cool.
home, during that brief silence, Ben moved
Yeah,
his
that's
hands
true.
like a flower opening up.
I should have
Really
described
spoke
it
to him.
instead of just getting lost in the motion.
The daydream of going to this coffee shop and enjoying a nice cup of tea overwhelmed you.
I was no longer recording a simple podcast, but at the cafe.
It's like we're painting some sort of mind picture with our words.
Yeah.
Speaking of mind pictures, Ben, we need a poll, sir. We need to vote. Let the people
Oh.
vote.
Yes.
That's true. I made one and just completely forgot to share it.
Well,
so
while
it's-
Ben works on that poll, let me review our recipes. From me, we have the Volcarona spicy lava cake. From Ben, excuse me, we have Doll Corona. From Ian, we have Braise the Sun Volcarona in wine. And then from Evan, we have a Volcarona tea. Place your votes. And Ben, can you tell us who the winner mon is?
I can. Evan Aubrey took away this week's episode with 3 votes.
What?
And Jeremy got a vote.
Thank
I
you.
voted for
Thank
you, Jeremy. It was
So, Ben, remember when you're like, Jeremy, you won this so easily.
Yeah.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
he was coming at it
giving
this
you.
week. He was coming at it.
I was saying, Jeremy, you came in here with some great fucking energy. If you come in, this is like that moment on Drag Race where they're like, "You've got real potential. You can go all the way."
Did they lose the next week?
Yeah, Jeremy, if you come like this every week, cool boy, you're gonna be America's Next Top I Choose You.
I gotta say, tea and molten lava cake pair real well together. So
Yeah, it sounds like a
I'm all
lovely
about it.
afternoon at the biscuitery. All right. Now, let's move on to everyone's favorite section of the show. It's called Whale Lord's Mail Horde. It's where we read your comments, questions, and recipes sent into our email, which is ichoosepod@gmail.com. That's ichewspod@gmail.com. We have some stuff for our live show coming up soon. More on that later. But no email specifically, but we do have a lot of writings in through our social media platforms. Ben, can you read this recipe from Pokemaniac Chris?
I can. At Pokemaniacal tweets at iChoosePod, there's one major obstacle to cooking and eating Volcarona. Volcarona is a holy Pokemon, worshipped since ancient times as the embodiment of the sun. In many parts of Unova, even today, eating it would be considered sacrilege, and could get you run out of town.
Hold on. If you eat it, sacrilegious. Continue.
I fucking knew you were gonna.
I do have to say that, like, I feel like there's been multiple Pokemaniac Chris recipes that have started out this exact same way.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, clearly, like, we will consume God. I don't know.
Yes.
There are no limits.
Nothing's stopping us at this point.
Well, speaking of Elden Ring, am I right? You play those Dark Souls games and you just like eat the Lord of like whatever, and you're like, oh cool, now I can upgrade my levels so I can like take one more hit when a guy with a sword hits me.
Exactly.
We're not opposed to the sacrilegious here.
No.
Fortunately for us, since the beginning of time, man has yearned to eat the sun. There are dark, hidden places in Unova, places where heretical sects dare to dream this forbidden dream. This recipe comes from the secret blasphemous rituals of these heliophagic cults.
That means sun.
Cultists.
That means sun eater.
Wow, nice. All right. Capture and restrain a Volcarona. It has to be alive for the ritual. But if I like how this has changed from a recipe to a ritual.
It's like a fucking midsummer over here.
It has to be alive for the ritual, but if its wings can move freely, it will immolate you
Yes.
with celestial fire for your insolence. The best method is to get a gelatine to form a bubble of seawater around its wings, which also pre-seasons them.
My favorite seasoning, water.
Salt water.
Yes.
Prepare the Volcarona by coating its body with a paste of finely ground sunstones, powdered oca berries, mashed cherubi, and sweetened lilligant nectar. Then liberally sprinkle with sunflower seeds. Smoke it with psychoactive Masharna, dream smoke, and read the forbidden chants. Take a dagger carved from the crescent point of a lunatone. Wow, man, the references go on. And dip it in poisonous Umbreon sweat. Plunge the dagger into Volcarona's heart to symbolize the victory of night over day. Disclaimer, this might end the world. It hasn't yet, and it's only been tried a few times. Wrap the Volcarona's wings over its body, then drench the whole thing in chandelure oil, which burns with the cold, dark fire of the spirit world, the only fire that can cook the sun. When it's cooked through, douse the flames in a rich black Absol blood sauce.
Nice.
If you could taste a sunset, they
Yes.
say. If you could describe the bittersweet flower of a moonless night swallowing up the last glimmers of daylight, that's what this dish is. Only the finest black Rosalia wine could match it. But failing that, there's always black raspberry LaCroix.
Nice.
I think that's my favorite recipe Chris has ever done.
I think so too. That was pretty incredible.
Like, can I change my vote from Evan to Chris this time?
Yeah, me too.
Well, it was like last week when we got a mail-in suggestion that was the same as one of the ones we did, and we're like, we're not cheating. We always save this to the last section kind of situation. But Chris, good job. Thanks for writing in, as always. We've got some Discord recipes sent in on the I Choose You Discord. Evan, can you read this recipe from new Discord user Elijah?
I can indeed. They say for next week's recipe, please read in a funny voice. But I don't know where this is going, so here we go. You're all gonna laugh at me, but what if we didn't kill it? I was reading Volcarona's entries, and it kept talking about, oh, it's super hot, so we'll use it as a grill.
Wait. Oh. different hot.
It's so hot.
Oh, yeah.
You get your gloom sliced into long, thin pieces and grill them up for 25 minutes. Meanwhile, coat the crobats, bell peppers, parentheses, with a teaspoon of olive oil, grill for 15 minutes. Put the gloom and crobats in 2 different bowls and cover the crobats. Peel the skin off the crobats and gloom. Remove the seeds from the crobats. Do crobats have seeds? Maybe the eyes? I don't know. Just carve everything. Take the eyes and put them in a bowl until juicy. Interesting. Put your gloom on a cutting board and finely chop and get all the juices into a bowl and throw it away. Then grill the mill tank on the Volcarona grill for 10 minutes. Put the juicy eyeballs and gloom strips onto a plate and put the steak on top. Get ready. The steak has no grill marks. I know sacrilege, but it tastes good. Bye for now.
All right. So I imagine it's like a bed of bell peppers and mushrooms that you're going to put your mill tank steak on top of.
Right.
That you grilled. All right. Thanks for writing in, Elijah. Next, I've got a recipe here from Amy on the Discord. And it's quite a long one. So I'll do my best to make this snappy. But they write in and still haven't caught up to the apps yet. But I love moths and I love Volcarona, so here's my take. Thanks for writing in.
Gotta love moths.
In the Chinese region of the Pokemon world, there's a long-held understanding of food as medicine. People pay close attention to the warming and cooling properties of ingredients when making meals to balance out the body's conditions and ailments. Non-native to the region, Larvesta horns were prized as mythical medicine, but the even more elusive Volcarona was believed to have such pure and potent yang energy that consuming its parts would be fatal. This ingredient was sought by only the truly desperate, such as those unfortunate enough to be pursued by Frostlass and seeking to counteract the unending chill they suffered. In modern times, Volcarona are more widely available, but are still treated with caution, with children and elderly discouraged from it. Nice. And even healthy adults knowing to limit consumption to no more than once or twice a week at most. Those living in freezing cold climates will find themselves feeling warm and energetic for days after. So it's like keeps you warm and stuff in the winter. And their recipe is Volcarona dessert soup. Nice. It's a dessert.
Dessert
soup.
Interesting.
Yes. Ingredients: 5 to 6 large snover berries, quartered and pitted, 1 snover root, 2 teaspoons of blackberry powder, 1 gram of Volcarona ring scale ground into a fine powder, persimmon, lancet, and ganlon berries to taste, rock sugar to taste, and 700 milliliters of water. Bring every water, berries, and snover root to a boil on a stovetop. Lower the heat to a simmer and stir gently. Add rock sugar, blackberry powder, and Volcarona wing powder and stir until they dissolve. Leave to simmer for 20 minutes. Cool before serving and enjoy.
Can't say I've had a dessert soup before, but that sounds
no.
really good.
That's something I've actually never really considered. I imagine you could put sweet things in a soup kind of situation. But I've never considered. I've never thought of having soup for dessert.
The one thing that I think of is there was actually at the Shed in Santa Fe. I remember one time I went and they had a raspberry soup, and it was a cold raspberry soup, and it was very refreshing. It doesn't sound very at all like what this one is, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is a sweet soup.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thanks for writing in, Amy. And again, you can do that all and more on the I Choose You Discord. But now let's pick next week's Pokemon in a segment I like to call Pick'emon. Evan, can you give me a randomly generated number between 494 and 649? Let's see if I remembered that last one right. I did.
Indeed. Wow, look at you go.
Yeah.
554.
554, you say. I have to scroll back up. Stalling. 554 is... I'm not familiar with this one, but it is... okay. It's called Duramica, and it's the Zen Charm Pokemon, and it comes in both fire and ice versions. I'm going to send you guys a picture.
Oh, that's funky looking. I love it.
It's like a little ball guy.
Yeah, it's like a
got
little
some good
ball.
eyebrows.
Yes. I'm not super familiar, so I'll have to do some research on this one.
Darumaka.
Yeah, it's the Zen Charm Pokemon. Is it like a inanimate object? I don't know.
It kind of looks like it's from a Miyazaki film.
It does.
It's like the little forest spirits in Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
So write in with your best Duramaka recipes here to I Choose You, and we'll read them on the air, prepare them in any way you can. All right. live show. Ben, tell us about it.
There is going to be a live stream of this show. There will also be an audio version, but to celebrate our 3-year anniversary, which was this past weekend, we are going to do a live stream on our YouTube channel, and it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be on March 17th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll be a lot of fun. We're gonna do a special recipe segment. We're gonna do a special Werelord's Mail Horde segment where you can send in your voicemails. So if you want to send in a recipe, or you just want to like send in like your favorite parts of the show, or a question, or I don't know, just whatever mail you want to send, you can now send in audio form, and we'll play it on the show and listen to it. So you can record yourself with a voice memo and then send it to ichoosepod@gmail.com.
Excellent. It sounds good. Ben, do you want to tease the hot segment that you have cooking up that we workshopped last week?
I can. Do you want me to give an example as well?
Sure.
Should we play it?
Sure.
Should we play around?
Welcome to the hot new game show. It's called Pokemon or Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so I feel like I'm gonna have to like grab my microphone and like get serious. So real talk here. I started playing the Kingdom Hearts games because they are out on Switch right now, and I needed some nostalgia. And it's mostly really good, and I'm having a great time. But I was telling after the show wrapped last week, a little peek behind the carton.
Behind the
our
milk
curtains made of milk cartons.
Me and Evan and Jeremy were talking, and I was referencing some characters, and there was a little funny business where Jeremy was saying, well, these sound kind of like Pokemon. Maybe we should play Pokemon or Kingdom Hearts. So I have done the dirty work. I've gone through all of the litany of Kingdom Hearts characters and the tomes of Pokemon that there are, and I've compiled a list of names that I think will confuse, amuse, and befuddle your brains.
Mm-hmm.
So how about let's do this. You tell me which one you think is a Pokemon. I'll give you 2 options, okay? And maybe I'll just start with an easy one that I know that Jeremy already knows. And maybe this will just be... Okay, wait. Okay. I don't really know. I didn't prepare like super specifically what I have, but I do have a notes app with all of these in it. So the 2 names I'm going to give you are Xerneas and Xehanort.
Fuck.
Which of these is a Pokemon, and which of these is a Kingdom Hearts character?
Ooh.
At first I was like, oh, this will be fucking easy. I'm Pokemon Master.
Not anymore.
again.
Not anymore, Davis.
I'm not.
I'm gonna go Xehanort.
The option
is Pokemon.
Can you say them again?
The options are Xerneas and Xehanort.
Xerneas is the Pokemon.
I know the answer to this. So
Okay.
I'll
The answer is Xerneas.
yes.
Xerneas is actually one of the legendaries that I am not very familiar with.
Oh,
but
right.
It's very similar. Xehanort is kind of like the big bad guy at the end of all bad guys, but he's actually like possessing... it's complicated. When we play the game on the stream, I'll make sure that I have all of the background on all of these convoluted characters. And we'll play a little round. I'll make a little Kahoot out of it.
Yes.
Make it official.
Nice.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited for that. Join us on the live stream, St. Patty's Day, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
With your giant stein of beverage.
Yes, you've got your Bulmer cider or your Guinness beer to enjoy while you watch the show.
Or a LaCroix.
Yeah. But let's wrap up this show with what I like to call the plug segment. You got something you want to talk about? Tell it now. Anybody? Ben, Evan, Ian?
Nope.
Follow me on Instagram at music Ian Davis. You can see me play the bass, and follow me at Ian Reynolds Photo for my budding photography business.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and also keep an eye out for new Zoltan and the Fortune Tellers album coming to you in 2022.
Nice. Ooh,
Nice. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't know if I can post about it, but I did just finish a job working for a podcast that will be coming out later this year. So that's exciting. Follow me. I'll probably tweet about Kingdom Hearts. And then last week, I'll just plug what I plugged last week as well, which is if you go to rescue.org, there's a bunch of places you can donate that can help refugees all around the world. And you can also donate to the Kiev Independent, which is a local news source in Kiev that you can fund right from home. So you can go do those things, like I said last week.
You can follow me on Twitter at @E_Van Opry.
Excellent. You can follow me on Twitter at VelocityPrime1. I got pictures of hikes I went on and retweets about Garfield. If you want more of my writing, you can follow me at the-avocado.org, Jeremy Zielik. I write about movies, video games, TV, all that good stuff. The-avocado.org, Jeremy Zielik. I think that covers it for the plugs. Now it's time to wrap up the show. This has been I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. You can find our show on your favorite podcasting apps, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify, or your podcast catcher of choice. If you like our show, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help us go up the ranks. If you want more I Choose You goodness, make sure to check out our social media pages. I Choose Pod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hang out with fellow choosies, send in recipes, talk about general nonsense. All that on our social media pages. Don't forget to head over to our Discord. It's been revamped and it should work completely now. So that's the I Choose You Discord. Link is in the episode description and on our social media pages. It's a good time to be had by all. Lastly, but not leastly, check out our website, ichooseyou.menu. It has a full episode archive and a merch store with items designed by one Evan Aubrey, including aprons, pins, and stickers. All that at ichooseyou.menu. I think that covers everything for the show. So for I Choose You, I've been your host and Alton Brown of the group, Jeremy Zielik.
I've been your friend on this show, Ben Montoya.
I've been your From Software Inc. Founder, now Tashi's in, Ian Davis.
And Evan Aubrey.
And to all the listeners out there in Radioland, in a while, Totodile.
It's always hard when the recipe's new. Make a presupposition or just make a stew. But there's no moth that we can't cook, so turn up the volume, put down that book. It's season 5. Let the pan sage roast. Keep the Nilux alive. Make some tepid toast. So crack a cold one, now's the time. For cooking Pokemon and making rhymes. You're not always right or wrong, but you'll probably have some fun. It's win or lose based on the jokes you choose. The winner's within. It's a podcast called I Choose You. Ben, Evan, Jeremy, and Ian too. Let the cook